Yo, what a go on. Everyday superpower. Place where we talk body language, relationships, attraction game, everything in between. Okay. Might be a relatively brief one here, but it's an important point I have to make. Before we get into that, let me tell you there's two links down in the video description. One of them will take you into the playlist of body language I've compiled on YouTube. It's all my own material. It'll teach you how to read the minds of others through their subconscious behaviors. Yes. Second to that, there is going to be a link that leads through to the Patreon as to where you will watch me engage with first date media. We'll learn about the attraction repulsion cues in real time. I'll teach you information that will manifest itself in every single communication you have in your life from here on. And yeah, honestly, it's a magic power. Now, the topic I have at hand today is this. I've just written down a statement. Yeah, it states, "Don't brag about your conquests to a woman." All right. So don't brag or speak with an incredible amount of depth when it comes to your sexual endeavors, given that you are successful in them or you have had a history with them. Right. There are levels to this. And I say this purely because if you can talk to, and I'm saying in regards to this is a woman you are speaking to, who you are sexually attracted to, should I say, and potentially attractive to at this moment in time, you don't want to be a chatty little girl in speaking on the fine detail of what this other woman who you had sexual relations with, what she would have expected for you to stay quiet on, okay? Because she's going to mirror herself in the shoes of this woman you've slept with and think, right, well, if I sleep with this person, they're going to do the same thing to me. It's sort of the same effect as if somebody bitches to you about someone else, they're going to do it about you to somebody else. Makes sense, right? But there's a deeper level to it. Because whereas a fella might find, or a man, should I say, might find success in a woman talking about him being sexually active to other women. It's the counter opposite when you talk on a woman's, fine detailing, so to speak, to another woman, because they're going to be perceived as a slut, and the competitive anxiety and the economic factor of a woman being perceived as easy is quite detrimental. It brings her value down. And as much as you might hate to feel that's the case, or why can men sleep with loads of people and women not? I didn't make the rules, right? It's the biological factor because biologically speaking, evolutionarily speaking, if a woman's to have intercourse with a bunch of men or is to be deemed as easy, how am I to know that child's mine? And I'm not willing to wait 9 months after knocking this person up, worrying to do a DNA test and so forth to potentially find out it's not mine. So that's the real sort of underlying biological anxiety that exists within this circumstance. A woman does have an anti-slut defense, and rightfully so. It's why you can't be bold and have a woman openly declare she wants to have sex with you, yet she will happen to have sex with you when you happen to go to hers or she goes to yours. You happen to consume alcohol. You happen to lower your boundaries and defense around each other. You don't have to overtly discuss it with each other. A woman isn't necessarily going to do that to you, yeah? Even to the degree where she might pull back at the last moment and you might wonder, why, what, how did that happen? Why was that a thing? One of the biggest issues I've had with dating in the past has been going from arranging a date, never been an issue, to actually going on the date, as to where women tend to get cold feet at the last moment. It's the anti-slut defense, it's the final barrier they have to put forward, and how you choose to maneuver around that is a story for another video. But all I'm telling you is you don't want to be talking in much depth about girls you have slept with or had sexual relations with in the past, purely as you are gonna trigger a anti sexual feeling within the intuition of that woman. Now, this goes contradictory to when I say be seen as somebody who is attractive from the opposite sex, because you will turn on a attraction switch within the mind of that woman, down to the theory of triangulation or pre-selection from other women, which is marketing essentially. If I am deemed a successful and wanted and valuable product, more people are going to buy me, right? Makes sense, because people want the product that everybody has for reasons, multiple factors, as opposed to the one that's been left on the shelf because it's not seen as good by anybody else, yeah? So you establish momentum by doing so, but the difference is you don't want to go into too much depth. You just want to hint at it. You just want to indirectly display it, as opposed to having to prove it and having to go out of your way to make somebody feel a particular way. You know, you don't have to manufacture it um, in a factory to the finest tea. You just have to let somebody else come to that conclusion by planting the seeds over however long a time or throughout your communication in indirect and oblique manners. Yes. Now, you'll be deemed different from the rest of the men as well, because men love to talk about, or at least a man's ego loves to discuss and talk about freely, what women he's been involved with, the antics in the bedroom, and so on and so forth. Men love to speak about that. So when you sort of don't go as far as that next man, you are seen as more honourable, more respectful, and more mature. That's the man who should be bringing up this woman's children, right? Someone who she can trust and depend on, yes? Someone who is valuable to her. Alongside that, let's be real, um, men aren't really getting out as well. So you also put yourself ahead of the rest by only briefly brushing over it and hinting at it, rather than overcompensating it through one way or another. Overcompensating by dead silence because you don't get any, or overcompensating because you are fortunate that you do get some and you have to tell the world tenfold, 24 times over. It's going to be repulsive to that woman. There's a spectrum to it, there's a balance to it. You want to meet her in the middle of the line. You don't want to go dead silent and seem as unwanted, and you don't want to go 100% as if you're trying to prove something and that you are putting her on a pedestal purely as, you know, she knows you're trying to impress her. You get me? So that was a brief one, but it's a little bit of food for thought. And on that note, I'm signing out. Peace.